from WBBZ-TV Sports. It's time to beat the champ. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Peck and Sue Novoitsky.
With Janelle Sabin and Hall of Fame bowler Sue Novoitsky, my name is Paul Peck, and welcome to Beat the Champ, week number 2 at the Tonawanda Bowling Center. We had an interesting and competitive week 1. Chris Weiler emerges as our returning champ, and he'll face some impressive bowlers this week, Sue, in Shawn Bender, Michael Kemp, and Tyler Molina.
Yes, young and hungry guys we have. We have a bunch of young ones. Haven't seen a lot of them, not a lot of history behind anybody, so I think we're going to make a new start today.
Yeah, and in Kemp and Molina, those have been the 2 hottest Beat the Champ bowlers in the year of 2017, so we'll see if those guys can continue that. Meanwhile, Janelle, your work always cut out for you because we've got a great crowd on hand here, and I know they're going to be fired up to see some of these bowlers.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, the only thing that can really fire them up is expecting the unexpected, which is always happening at Beat the Champ.
Yes,
you never know what to expect.
It absolutely always is. So let's find out what unexpected things can happen. It's our first match, Weiler versus Bender. Let's get rolling. And that is Chris Weiler on the right and Shawn Bender on the left. A couple of Beat the Champ veterans, and I use finger quotes on that. 2 matches combined for these 2 guys. Well, Weiler made his debut with the win last week. Shawn Bender has only bowled on the show once, and it hasn't happened since February of 2016.
Yeah, so, you know, this is going to be a cool match to watch, and I know that Chris was really lined up last match and started to get a little... lane started to change for him a little bit, so we'll see how he adjusted.
Yeah, he got off to a great start in the last match, opened with 5 consecutive strikes, which, you know, for someone making their debut seemed a little bit unusual. But, you know, and one of the things I want you to talk a little bit about, we have the benefit here, thanks to the scoring system at the Tonawanda Bowling Center, of seeing the speed of each throw. And that last one by Chris Weiler over 18 miles an hour, which is moving.
Right. Well, he's got 2 things going for him. He's got excellent ball speed. He's got excellent rotation on his ball. So we'll talk a little bit more about him when he comes back up again. Get a look at Shawn, who we haven't seen since February of 2016. Yeah,
just that one show up at, I believe, the Kearns Avenue Bowling Center that year, and he was not successful. This is his first time back, 27 years old, from Tonawanda, New York, a draftsman steel detailer at Bender's Technical Detailing. So that's what Shawn does to keep busy, but he also keeps busy with a very nice 225 bowling average and stays busy a couple of nights a week, Wednesdays and Fridays, in bowling and leagues around Western New York.
Well, Shawn's dad, John, I've known for a very long time. He was a customer of mine here when I worked here right out of college. So
here at the Tonawanda Bowling Center,
yeah,
huh? See, these are details that even I have not included in my preparation, and maybe people on their social media, Facebook and Twitter feeds can give us details about that. What do you remember about this place from back in those days?
Well, I've seen all the renovations. I know this place before. You know, we have a lot of history here. I just know a lot about this building. I spent a lot of nights closing this building.
Yeah, and this is a terrific building, one of the nicer bowling centers in Western New York. You're seeing us bowl on the TV lanes of 39 and 40, and it goes to 42 here, so 42 lanes, and it's nice and it's bright. They do a great job here at the Tonawanda Bowling Center.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd like to mention, you know, one of the changes since I've been here is that they have a smoker now, and they do excellent smoked meat, and their menu's excellent. And he's also put in a big draft system, so they have, you know, huge amount of taps to, you know, accommodate the changing times.
Yep. Got to have plenty of ways to get the craft beer out to everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
I joked with somebody the other day. I said it's never been more fun but harder to order beer than it is right now, with so many cool options, and that's something that you can enjoy here at the Tonawanda Bowling Center, and I believe it's the Back Alley Barbecue here. Right. That's part of the restaurant. So we'll probably get a chance to talk to the owner, Len Pym, here in one of our upcoming shows as well, too. So Chris Weiler, strike in the first, looking to finish the spare here in the second.
Again, we talked about a little bit of how the champion coming on bowled on a certain lane condition, and that condition is changing for him. So we're watching him make a little bit of adjustment. I see he's moved in a hair. might be where you see a 10 pin. That's always one of the dangers of moving on the lane, is that pesky 10 pin starts to follow you. So we'll see how it plays out for Chris.
Got an early look at Janelle Saban and the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard, and here's a better look at our 43-year-old from Lancaster, Chris Weiler. Full-time occupation as a truck driver.
Great shot.
And right now, full-time occupation as a pin knocker-downer. That's 2 strikes in the first 3.
They're very different styles. Chris is down and in with a lot of ball speed, good rotation. Shawn throws it a little slower. And he will use more of the inside lane. He'll use more where the oil is. So you'll see him playing a lot deeper on the lane than Chris is.
Mom and Dad are here to cheer on Shawn. Grandma Beverly, girlfriend Amanda, all here at Tonawanda Bowling Center and cheering on Shawn Bender. Now, you know, again, you talk about not throwing it as hard, and again, we have the benefit of seeing the speeds here. Chris Weiler is consistently over 18. That particular strike was under 16 miles an hour.
Right,
is it a big deal? Does it mean anything? Is it just differing styles? Just like some baseball pitchers throw 95 and some guys will get you out at 87.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly the correlation. So what's going to happen is, because his speed is slower, the ball hooks more when your speed is slower, and he's going to find more oil. He's going to search for the oil.
And a wobble and a fall on a 3rd consecutive strike. Does the ball speed, is it more impacted by the oil conditions? Less ball speed have more or less impact?
Well, yeah, because if there's dry boards.
And there you're getting a good look at it. What we see on the boards here as the speed gets posted up, and again, that one under 15 miles per hour again from Shawn Bender.
Right, so Shawn will always look for the oil, and he'll generally start deeper on the lane because the oil's always deeper on the lane, where Chris will manipulate that oil line, so he'll have the dry to the right of him, and he'll have the oil to the left of him because of his ball speed. So ball speed just basically makes the ball go down the lane faster.
Mm-hmm. Does it promote more pin action by hitting them harder?
Not necessarily.
This feels like a good time to take a short break. We'll be right back with more action on Beat the Champ. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
I'm here with Shawn Bender, here to take on our champion, Chris Weiler. Any thoughts about today's bowling?
Just got to get out there and put up some big numbers.
All right, well, we saw you back in February of 2016. What have you been doing all this time?
Just a lot of bowling. I've been trying out every month, just no luck until now.
All right, so been practicing and perfecting your game to get here today to take on a champion, huh?
Exactly.
All right, well, good luck today with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Shawn can only, his best score is a 211, and Chris really needs to keep the ball in the lanes for the next 3 frames to reach that. So now's the time where he can fish around and try a couple things.
Do you do that? How willing are you to do that? Particularly when you're now throwing 6 consecutive strikes.
Well,
do you say, okay, I kind of got this match in hand, let me try something? Or do you not mess with what's working?
It would depend if you have any questions in your mind. Like if he wonders what a different ball will do to, sort of stay ahead of what changes there's going to be on the lanes. I mean, he may not have a question in his mind, so he'll just continue to, throw it good and strike.
We've got qualifying coming up in 1 week at Alley Brant Lanes for next month's taping of Beat the Champ, and we always want to remind you that the top qualifier through those first 3 days of qualifying wins a $500 Dirt Cheap TV from our friends at Dirt Cheap TV. So, Sue, give them the details on qualifying.
Right. One of the great things about the summer months, when the bowling season isn't at its high point, is that we are able to have nighttime qualifiers.
And everybody gets to wear shorts.
And
except for Zarcone, who wears shorts in the middle of November. But go ahead.
Well, so this week at Alley Brant, there's going to be a qualifier on Thursday night, July 6th, 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. And then the obvious weekend ones they always do, which would be Saturday, July 8th, 12, 2, and 4 p.m. squads, and Sunday the 9th, 12, 2, and 4 also, with the roll-off being Sunday night the 9th at 7 p.m.
And of course, if you missed any of that, all the details are on the Beat the Champ Facebook page, including the date of the taping, which will be Sunday, July 16th.
So this is the July 1st show that we're on. So get ready to start bowling. Start Thursday.
Happy early 4th of July holiday to everyone. Hope the weather will be good, and hope everyone will have a nice, enjoying time.
Right.
July 4th is on a Tuesday this week, right? Does that sound correct?
Yep, coming up on Tuesday.
So hopefully everybody gets that Monday off. Makes it a nice weekend. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work around Western New York, but hopefully you can figure out a way to make that work. So Shawn Bender finally bounces back after those 3 disappointing frames, opens with a strike in the 9th. But it won't be enough. Boy, we have seen an awful lot of sticky 10 pins here so far through first 4 matches at the Tonawanda Bowling Center.
Yep, well, it's a generally nice lane condition so you can get to the pocket, but something's got to hold you up from shooting 300 every time, and most of the time it's those 10 pins.
It's the 10 pin, yep, yes it is. One more for Shawn Bender to post up his final score, and then we'll watch Chris Weiler roll out for the victory and move on to match number 2.
Surprisingly enough, we've had only right-handers here at Tonawanda, so when Tyler comes up, when it becomes his turn, it'll be interesting to see what he'll have, because his side of the lane has gotten no play.
That's Tyler Molina, who will come up in 2 matches here. 187 final score for Shawn Bender.
But so far, everyone that's been bowling has been dealing with their own form of transition. Transition being the bowling nightmare of, when I said he might want to look at something else, another ball, or see what another ball would react like, because he will deal with transition just like everyone else. Chris Weiler, I mean.
And this time it's the 7 pin that Chris can't get to knock down, but still over 18 miles per hour on the throw there. And that's pretty consistently where Chris Weiler is on the MPH for his throws. Spare ball takes that one out. So one more for Chris Weiler. Just for contrasting purposes, you watch him throw a spare ball there at 16 miles per hour versus the regular strike balls at 18.
Well, he was going cross alley too, so he wanted to make sure that ball hooked.
Final throw, Chris Weiler. And he gets the 10 pin down, and a nice round of applause from the crowd here, and an impressive 248 to 187 win for Chris Weiler. We will talk to Shawn Bender, wrap up match number 1, get you ready for what should be a great match number 2. When Sue and I return, it is BTC at the TBC. We're back right after this. So many things have to go right to be successful in bowling, and sometimes when things go wrong, Shawn Bender, they can really go wrong as well too. What happened to you in that stretch of those open frames?
Couple slow shots that I ball grabbed and I paid for. Couldn't make up the ground.
Yeah, how difficult is it to not let that start to get into your head too?
When you see your opponent keep striking and you even have one open, it's tough to come back.
Right, well, so Chris Weiler is able to advance past Shawn Bender. Shawn, we need you back more than every 1.5 years, so get to work on that. But we got a good match coming up. It is Chris Weiler and Michael Kemp. That is next on Beat the Champ.
I'm here with a familiar face from Beat the Champ last month. A Star is Born. We talked last month about how you didn't have a win and had a bit of a target on you, and came back and had a bunch of wins, and you're right back here again. How was qualifying this week?
Qualifying was good. Had a few good games. There were a lot of high scores out there, so I know that I'm going to have to bowl a high score today in order to win. Hopefully I can have some success like I did last month.
A little bit more confidence now that you got some of those wins under your belt though, huh?
Yeah, I mean, definitely more relaxed now, I would say, in front of the camera.
Kind of getting used to these interviews, though. I mean, you've been doing this a little bit more, so I'm throwing some tough questions at you. But you're going to be good once you get on the lanes and show what you're really good at, and that's bowling.
That's right, and a shout out to my friends and family who always knock on me for not smiling on TV, so.
There you have it. Well, we're going to watch you bowl, and good luck today.
Thank you.
Match number 2 from this week at Tonawanda Bowling Center. You see Chris Weiler returning, and you get a quick look at his challenger, Michael Kemp. We'll talk a lot more about Michael, who should be very familiar to recent Beat the Champ watchers based on his run last month at Brad Angelo Lanes. But so now, as well as Chris Weiler has bowled 234, 248, 2 wins, he's going to get some tests now from Michael Kemp, and if he's lucky enough to beat Michael Kemp, then Tyler Molina. Not to say he hasn't been tested already, but you're stepping up in weight class here.
Well, absolutely, because now we're going to see, I mentioned in the last match, we're going to see the results of transition, and if you watch, they're very similar styles. They're going to play the lane very similarly, so we'll see how that plays out as far as, breaking down their pattern.
So here's Michael Kemp, 32 years old, from Cheektowaga, an analyst at M&T Bank. This is his 6th Beat the Champ show appearance, a record of 5 wins and 4 losses. Now, that needs some explanation in the fact that Michael lost his first 3 Beat the Champ matches. Then last month at Brad Angelo Lanes won 5 in a row before being defeated. And that stretch of 5 in a row is tied for the 2nd longest winning streak on Beat the Champ since we've been back in 2016.
That's kind of how we see it work around here.
Yep.
So
yeah, we do. Guys get hot and get on a run.
Yeah. Make household names out of people.
Well, some of them were already household names, and now they're Western New York-wide household names, and Michael Kemp is one of them. And you talk about Kemp and Tyler Molina, who's in our next match. Those have been the 2 hottest bowlers in 2017 on Beat the Champ. Now overall, because we went all of 2016, your Zarcones and guys like that have been great, but just based on January on, the 2 most wins belong to Kemp and Molina.
Well deserved.
Yep.
I mean, they've bowled great.
So now, Chris Weiler, after a good opening strike in frame number 1, bounces back for frame number 2. Let's see if he maintains that ball speed and the kind of results that he has been getting. And a good look and a good hit, just couldn't get any pin action over there to knock the 10 down.
No, that's a great shot. I mean, there's not much more he can do different. He's moved in a little bit from where he started. He's playing about 11, 12, which is the right place for him to be, and it's just going to be a matter of kicking out that 10.
And remember, as you pointed out earlier, Sue, we have had nothing but righties so far, as we are into our 5th different match, and that's a big one, as Chris is unable to get the spare and leaves an open frame here in number 2. I was going to say we have had all righties. We've had 5 matches so far, all right-handers in every match. That will change in our next match with Tyler Molina, but so what's going to be the effect now through into our 6th match, or into our 5th match now, of everybody working that side of the lanes?
Well, it's going to depend how that fresh condition is. There's times that fresh is good, and there's times that fresh is not so good. So we're going to have to see when Tyler comes up there, because he's going to be bowling on a completely fresh pattern. Sometimes that can make for a lot of sparky back end. We'll see.
Sparky back ends. All right, good bounce back from Chris Weiler.
Yeah, I guess I used some terminology, but sometimes when they're fresh, the back is
I feel like you need to explain sparky back ends to me.
Well, when lanes haven't been bowled on, the back ends, which is the area in front of the pins, the 20 feet in front of the pins, can be very clean because the oil hasn't been carried down at all. So as the bowlers bowl, they're gonna drag some of that oil down with their ball. Well, in his case, it hasn't been happened yet, so the back ends can be very sharp break because they're very clean. There's no oil down there, so they're really just all friction. So it'll make a big break in the back end.
Talk to your friends over at the bowling equipment manufacturing people and see if they can't figure out an actual way for us to see sparks in what you're talking about. That would be kind of cool television, wouldn't it?
But as he bowls, he's going to carry down his own oil, and so he'll create his own, shot, his own path.
Kemp working 2 strikes in a row. Gets it for 3. 3 in a row for Michael Kemp. 2, 3, and 4. And back to Chris Weiler now in frame number 4. Our 43-year-old truck driver from Lancaster. He has been bowling since he was 8 years old. 230 average for Chris Weiler.
Chris, who hasn't missed the pocket and hasn't thrown a bad shot, finds himself down 22. Based on, leaving the 10-pin and then not being able to convert it.
Yep. Chris, a part of that very prestigious high-level Bowling Proprietors Association Travel League on Saturday mornings here in Western New York.
Always good practice when you travel from house to house.
And the 4-pin won't go down there for Chris.
So let's talk about 4-pin, 10-pin reaction.
Gotcha. I would love to.
You notice that Chris was leaving the 10-pin on lane 40. And this is typical of what happens when you have to start moving on the lane, because your shot will not hold up all day. So he's moved left 10 pins, so you want to adjust a hair to try to kick out the 10, thus leaving the 4.
We're going to be back with more Beat the Champ bowling action in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
So Michael Kemp's just got to play it cool here in frames 8, 9, and 10 to grab a victory and set up a potentially interesting matchup in our net, with our next bowler, Tyler Molina. But we'll hold off before we get to that. But like I said, Kemp and Molina have been 2 of the hottest bowlers here on Beat the Champ and 2 of the hotter guys in Western New York over the last 6 months.
And I do believe that Tyler beat Mike to start one of his runs. So I think there's a little
I believe we can look that up, so we'll confirm that, yes. You tell me there's a little revenge potentially in mind?
Revenge, avenge, I don't know. One of the Avengers.
Back-to-back spares for Michael Kemp in 7 and 8. And now Chris Weiler back on the lanes, lane number 40 for frame number 8. Good strike for Chris Weiler. Don't forget, as we mentioned earlier in the show, qualifying coming up next Saturday at Alley Brandt Lanes in Lockport. And of course, our top qualifier, the winner of a $500 value dirt cheap TV. So if you're thinking about getting out and trying to make the show, Alley Brandt Lanes in Lockport is the place to be next Saturday, this coming Thursday, and then Saturday and Sunday of next weekend.
Right. And don't forget they guarantee that spot to the woman.
That's right.
So women come out, you're guaranteed, the high qualifier is guaranteed to make the top 24 or 25 if need be.
And another bit of a ring 10 there, as Chris Weiler can't get that one to go down either. And you can see a little bit of the look on his face. He's struggling a little bit now, and you can see a little disappointment sort of rolling in.
Yep, transition was not his friend in this case.
And he missed the spare. Yeah, I think that says it all. Not much more I can say. I think Chris just said it all with his reaction and the heavy sigh and the arms out. It's, hey, this sport, you can go from the highs and the lows pretty quick in this sport, can't you?
Right. He just said he just made a comment about his carry, and it was just transition, lane changing on him, and he lost his carry.
4-7 will stay up for Michael Kemp in frame number 9.
And to be honest with you, it's happening a bit for Mike too, so he's going to have to make some changes going into the next match because they're playing the same area of the lane, so they're seeing the same thing. Mike was just able to overcome it a little bit better in the beginning, but he's starting to have the same thing happen.
So that's 3 consecutive spares for Michael Kemp, but he is well in control of this match as he heads to the 10th frame.
So this would be a good time really for him to try a couple things and see what happens. Because he's definitely going to want to get deeper on the lane.
Now, as I'm watching for what you're talking about, we didn't see a lot of break on that throw, but the break did come much later down the lanes, and
because
the result.
he stayed with the same ball. He just moved his feet in, so he's going to catch more of the dryer. He's going to catch more oil, and the ball's going to come up a little lighter because he's using more oil. So he's moved his feet quite a bit deeper, but he has stayed with the same bowling ball.
Again, you saw an example there of the break coming very late on that ball.
Well, that one got a hair right on him, which should be okay, but that area of the lane has broken down, so he's not going to have that to use. It's going to come up high for him if he tries to use the second arrow, so he's going to have to be deeper than that.
Final score for Michael Kemp of 235. It will be enough to win as Chris Weiler finishes out frame number 10 here, so that sets up a very interesting match here to wrap up week 2 at the Tonawanda Bowling Center. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But a nice performance by Chris Weiler. Again, we've seen more often than not mixed results from debut bowlers here on Beat the Champ, and for Chris Weiler to come in and knock off a couple of wins in his first 2 matches, including a win over Chad Mee in his first match last week. Very impressive performance, and Weiler is a guy that I would expect to see us in the mix a little more moving forward.
He throws it really, really well. Now, the next thing he'll work on is what he's going to change to as the matches go on.
Good strike there. By the way, I got to thank you for, I think my bowling pin water bottle was getting a little lonely, so now they have a friend. Thank you very much for...
But it's handy. It's a pen.
Oh, look at that. See, now look at that. Look at that. So now I am all covered. I can make my notes and stay hydrated all at the same time while providing Mr. Bowling Pin water bottle a little buddy to hang out with. Thank you very much, Mitch Navoyski. Really taking care of me and my props. Here we go. Let's get those. Chatham, widen out your shot there and show her. There you go. See, look at that. You couldn't ask for any better than that. So. Well, it's been a nice debut for Chris Weiler. You win a couple of matches. Talk just about the experience of finally getting on this show and being able to win a couple of matches.
It was fun. It was definitely fun. I love the experience. It's been a long time coming that we've got the TV show back on, and everybody needs to come out and give it a whirl.
Yeah, and again, you're bowling a pretty hot guy in Michael Kemp,
yes.
And as you said, you lost the carry a little bit, and
yes,
we talk an awful lot about all those little adjustments you have to make.
Yeah, you got to go with what the lane gives you, and my carry disappeared. I switched balls, but by that time it was just a little too late.
All right, well, it's good to finally get you on the show,
Thank you.
That's a face to certainly be watching for. Chris Weiler with a nice debut. Stick around. We got a match of 2 of the hottest bowlers in Western New York. It'll be Michael Kemp and Tyler Molina. It's our final match of the day from the Tonawanda Bowling Center, and it is next.
I'm here with Tyler Molina, who, great champion, used to senior bowl on TV, but also great in the booth after bowling. So I want you to win a lot today so you don't come after my job, because you did a great job. Thank you so much for giving us some insight last time you were on the show.
Yeah, of course, and that's obviously what I want to do, is be on the lanes instead of behind the lanes. And I think you do a good enough job where I won't take your job, maybe Paul's, maybe I'll take Paul's job. if it's good enough.
All right, well that's a deal. But I'd rather see you. I'd rather see your bowling out there today because you're always so much fun to watch. So good luck to you tonight.
Okay, thanks, Sue.
Match number 3 from the Tonawanda Bowling Center today features Tyler Molina in the orange and our returning champion Michael Kemp in the blue. And Sue, when I tell you that these two guys in 2017 have combined to win 18 Beat the Champ matches, you know that we have a battle of the Titans coming your way.
For sure. I mean, these are our two hottest guys, and they both basically came out of nowhere.
Yeah, Tyler Molina had not won a match. Matter of fact, I don't even think he had been on the show in 2016, and bursts on the scene with a 6-match winning streak at the Kearns Avenue Bowling Center earlier in the year. And then Michael Kemp had the 5-match winning streak at Brad Angelo Lane's last month. So, you know, even Michael had been on the show before, but I'm telling you, these two guys are fantastic. And Tyler Molina gets off to a great start. You see, he's our first lefty of the month here at Tonawanda Bowling Center. We'll see where that figures in. But now Michael Kemp, who is appearing in his 6th Beat the Champ show, all of them here in this year, looks for 2 wins in a row. By the way, that first strike thrown by Tyler Molina, 19.5 miles per hour was the ball speed.
Wow,
It's about as high as I think I've ever seen on any of the bowling centers that we are at that track that.
Right, and yet, even though it's that hard, that firm, you still got really great rotation on the ball, which you and I were talking about how his pins always get pushed to the back of the deck, and that ball speed coupled with his hand position, which still gets a lot of rotation, a lot of power, it's so rare to see every pin off the deck and into the back end.
Something for you guys at home to watch for when Tyler comes back up. And Sue will talk a little more about it, and you know, and as you and I were talking as we got ready for this match, you know, my question to you was, what does that mean? Is it, you know, as you said, just knock them down, that's the goal, but when you see a contrasting style in the way the pins are knocked down, what does that tell you about the way the bowlers are throwing the ball?
Right, I mean, let's face it, knocking the pins down is your job. But I know that from time to time when all the pins are laying on the deck, there's been times people strike and all the pins will be laying on the deck. When I say on the deck, I mean kind of where they're laying right now, where they're standing right now. That means they don't get pushed to the back of the deck. They just basically tumble over. Where Tyler is pushing all of those pins off the back of the deck. There's not one sitting on the deck.
Yeah, and you see it perfectly on that throw.
Right. Even
though he left a 7-pin, you saw nothing left and everything bouncing off the back wall. Maybe can you relate it to where the pins are bouncing off of, side and back?
Well, they're not really. They're just getting pushed back. They're not even bouncing into each other.
True.
They're pushed straight back.
Right.
And so, like a messenger, sometimes when a messenger will come around and take out a pin, that messenger comes out because it bounces off the side. His pins don't even bounce off the sides. They just go straight back.
So does he not get the benefit of sometimes having those messenger pins? He doesn't need it. Okay.
I shouldn't say that because he would have liked the messenger to come by and take out that 7.
Right.
But yeah, so then yeah, I guess it would. If it's not bouncing off the side, there's no messenger that's going to come and sweep that 7 off.
25 years old, from Cheektowaga, New York, is Tyler Molina. Works in the operations department at Lawley Insurance. Just got a nice promotion over there from the gang at Lawley Insurance. Congratulations to Tyler. And 232 average for Mr. Molina. We talked about his achievements here on Beat the Champ, but those achievements extend well beyond this show to almost every bowling tournament and competition and league in Western New York.
Great shot there.
And now to Michael Kemp, 32 years old, an analyst at M&T Bank, native of Cheektowaga. There you see his average, his numbers. Mom and Dad cheering him on here at Tonawanda Bowling Center.
Oh, that bit up a little bit for him.
Did not have much didn't seem like he had a lot of speed on that one.
Well, sometimes when the ball hits the dry, it'll give you the perception of the ball slowing down. That's what you saw.
Totally.
Because they hit the dry and the ball slows down. It's what happens. And that's where it hooked. That's what you saw.
Yep. Spare in the third frame for Michael Kemp. He'll slide over to lane number 32 for frame number 4. So spare, strike, spare so far for Michael Kemp. And
because of the amount of play on the right-hand side, we were talking about transition, and he's pushed in. His out of bounds is really about the 11 board. He doesn't want to go right of the 11 board. That was a little bit right. He's got this little spin in the front. If you notice when he lays it down, he's got a little spin that shoots through the front of the lane that kind of negates some of that early hook. So that would be his little trick. We talked about Mike Sarcone having a trick. Actually, Mike Kemp has a little trick too.
Tyler Molina's last appearance here on Beat the Champ was a couple of months ago at Manor Lanes 2, and guess what it took to beat him in that appearance?
I'm going to guess a 300.
That is correct. That was Mike D'Amico, the only 300 game we've had on Beat the Champ. That's what it took to beat Tyler Molina in that match. So we mentioned 12.
I'm not surprised.
12-2 is the overall record. This is Tyler's 7th Beat the Champ appearance. He's had 4 weekly wins, and we mentioned that 6-match winning streak.
That was a little high.
Yeah, and he was looking at a split there for a moment until he was able to get some pin action to take a couple of those pins
That's
out
the
on the
first
right
time
side.
I've seen him leave 2 pins sitting on the deck. Well, in our interview, and I noted, I commented to Tyler what a nice job he did talking to us. He gave us a lot of insight when he came, and
he joined us right here in
right.
analyzing the match right after.
Yeah, and he really did a great job. So I told him I'd rather see him bowling than taking my job, but he said he'd rather have your job. So
you know what? I think he probably would, and I think I should be worried about it. You're right.
The action will continue on Beat the Champ in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
7th frame, Michael has a streak of 3 in a row going.
he made a great shot. Not much you can say about that.
Nope. He'll have to work the spare here in the 7th frame.
Still got a 31 pin lead though, so he's got a little bit of room.
Key moment was that 5th frame open, and there's an open from Michael. As soon as I say it, that may be another key moment, a missed spare opportunity in the 7th frame and an open for Michael Kemp. So each guy has missed that spare and has an open at the moment. Tyler Molina has bounced back a little bit from it. We find out if Michael will now.
Well, that cuts his lead down to 19, but he still has a 19 pin lead at this point, even with that open.
There's a good response from Michael Kemp.
It's funny how that 10 pin is probably what us right-handers shoot the most, and yet every now and then it can be a challenge.
Tyler Molina got a good cheering section on hand for him today. His dad, his mom, his sister, his brother-in-law, Dad Jeff, Mom Lori, Sister Christine, and brother-in-law Anthony all here cheering him on at the Tonawanda Bowling Center. And that's one of the nice benefits of taping as we are here on a weekend, is that you get a little more crowd support.
Right.
And we'll do our next taping on a weekend as well. It'll be the 16th of July at Alley Brandt Lanes. Qualifying for that goes on starting Thursday. And don't forget, top qualifier at each stop here on the Beat the Champ Tour. That top qualifier wins a $500 value dirt cheap TV. Spare in the 8th frame for Tyler Molina.
Well, we really didn't know what would happen coming with a new lefty, a lefty coming on. We haven't seen one before, and he's definitely had to fight. I said it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. It's like you're creating your own track. So in this case, it hasn't been as good as he would have liked.
I think he needs to go back to the Argyle pants, if you ask me. if you've been watching earlier this year when Tyler made his debut, he was wearing his Canisius College Golden Griffin blue and gold Argyle pants, and we had a lot of fun talking about that, and we haven't seen that since then. Good strike.
Nope,
Much needed strike for Tyler.
That made him memorable, though, that's for sure.
Yes, it did.
Besides his bowling. But in that case, he moved a little bit. He moved to the right, and he changed his target up a bit, had a much better ball reaction.
Ninth frame now for Michael Kemp. Three and the 6 are left.
The dry is dry, so it matters when they hit it. I mean, they've got to use the friction, but in that case, he got a little early, came up a little high for him. Good spare.
So Michael slides over to lane 39, and he will throw his final 3 here. There's the Castellone, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram scoreboard. We are still figuring out who's going to win this one.
Here's the situation. If he does anything less than strike here, we have an opportunity of a tie or, you know, Tyler pulling the spike.
Strike for Michael Kemp.
Okay, so strike spare gives him 207. Tyler still has 207 on the board if he strikes out.
Mm-hmm.
So in this situation, Mike can't really shut Tyler out. He can't lose. He can tie. So
a strike here would be
a strike here will
critical.
be a win. A strike here will be a win. And there
Got it. And Michael Kemp knows it. He needed it, he got it, and it's going to be a win for Michael Kemp. A clutch performance here in the 10th frame.
Absolutely.
And that is when you stare down your opponent a little bit and go, all right, I know you got a shot at me, I'm going to take it away from you. And an impressive performance in a battle of 2 of our best and hottest beat the champ bowlers, and it's going to be Michael Kemp who comes out on top. He will post up a final of 216, and Tyler Molina will roll out here knowing he can't top it. So this match, 19.87 miles per hour on that one, close to that 20 mile per hour mark.
Wow.
Maybe Tyler will just give it a ride here and see if we can't get it there on the last one that he'll throw. So this match kind of lived up to.
Look at the speed on the spare ball.
23.16 miles per hour. Amazing. And a nice way to finish it off with an impressive strike there for Tyler Molina. 187 the score. This match lived up to the hype that we gave it. 2 of the best bowlers in Western New York put on a great show, but it's a win for Michael Kemp over Tyler Molina. We'll talk to both guys and get you ready for next week's show when we return. Sue and I are at the Tonawanda Bowling Center. Beat the Champ is back right after this. Well, Tyler, going into a match like this where you're bowling well, you know Michael is bowling well, what's your mindset like that?
Mindset is, just try to make some good chops, keep the ball speed up, and get the ball outside. And the first 4 or 5 frames or so, I was a little slow with the ball speed and pulled it a little bit and just didn't move very quick enough.
Did you throw that 23 mile per hour one just to give us something to talk about at the end there?
No, that's usually about the ball speed for my spare balls. So sometimes around 25, if it's, ringing 7, it's like, all right, come on, did I leave that?
Right, see, so 23 was still slow.
Yes, exactly.
Well, great show today. Perfect performance. I noticed that when you're sitting on the approach, you don't watch your opponent. Is that part of your strategy?
I don't. It is part of my strategy. Because
my thought process is I don't want to watch if they get a break. You know, I don't want it to affect me. You know. So.
Well, it's working for you, so carry that through, and good luck going forward.
Okay, thanks.
Well, he may not be watching, but we'll be watching him because Michael Kemp is going to be back to face some new challengers. That'll be next week's show. Sue and I will preview that when Beat the Champ returns to the Tonawanda Bowling Center right after this. Well, so we may not have expected Chris Weiler to be a guy that was going to impress us, but we knew that Kemp and Molina were going to put on a pretty good show, so it all meant a pretty fun week of bowling.
Yeah, absolutely, and neither one of them had the better of each other because they're 1-1. Tyler had beat Mike, and he came back and beat him back, so we'll have to see down the road a revenge match maybe.
Yeah, and Michael Kemp is really bowling very well right now, and he's an interesting guy, and you talk to him a little bit about the way he doesn't watch, but we know we're going to see him next week, and he's got some new challengers, not necessarily guys who've had a lot of success, so that'll be something to watch. This also means you've got a lot to watch as well, too. We should have another good crowd here for some interesting new guys next week.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's watching at home, but there's always open seats in the lanes. So
yeah, we got to get more people out here to cheer these guys on. So we had a great second week here at the Tonawanda Bowling Center. An even better third week will come your way next week when we see you on Beat the Champ.